Is two-way Stargate travel possible? Throughout the Stargate franchise, we are told repeatedly that wormhole travel is one way. But why is this really? The event horizon on both the dialing Stargate and receiving Stargate is capable of disassembling and reassembling a traveller. It is widely thought that one side disassembles while the other side rebuilds. I don't think that's the case, however, because of this scene with Jack. He dials the SGC from off-world and then travels through. When we see him run into the gate, he isn't holding his arm out behind him, meaning that when Jack arrived on Earth, his arm had to have been placed back into the event horizon instead of keeping it inside after his body exited. He then places his hand back into the event horizon while on Earth, forcing the gate to stay open. This shows that both event horizons can assemble and disassemble a person regardless of which side you are on. So, why is Stargate travel a one-way deal?
When a traveller steps into the gate, the last thing you would want, if by chance, is a person on the other side exiting your side of the Stargate. This would cause the two travellers to effectively fuse together. Even worse, they could bang their heads together, which would be extremely painful. The entering person would act kind of like a weird iris, only allowing certain parts of the opposite traveller out of the event horizon and becoming fixed to the ones trying to exit. I think if an object was within the event horizon before or after it formed, like the floor in Atlantis, then the gate would move an exiting traveller to his safe zone of the puddle. Jack's arm being in the gate would be detected as a dangerous area to eject the traveller, and they would be shifted accordingly. The one-way safety rule feature is more for in case you bumped into someone coming out and accidentally pushed them back into the gate. If that happened, they wouldn't be able to be retrieved and would die.
To solve this issue, Stargates only allow for the dialing Stargate to send matter down the wormhole. If anything stepped into the receiving side, the gate would save them into the local buffer. With no place for that matter to go, it simply dissipates inside the crystals into nothing. A common problem that is brought up is that the ancients should have made it so that the gate spits anyone out who enters on the wrong side. Since that seems to be the logical thing to do, yet doesn't happen, there may be a major issue with the crystal protocols that the ancients couldn't get around. Now we know that wormhole travel is only one way when using Stargate systems. What if we use something else to traverse the wormhole? In Season 10 of SG-1, the team, along with Bal, are repeatedly transported through an active Stargate via a beam transporter. They are dematerialised. The beam then enters the gate and carries their pattern through the wormhole, exiting at the receiving end. They are then rebuilt by the beam and the gate shuts down. Could you then use this technique to travel the opposite direction?
When a beam transporter sends you through a Stargate, it is not bypassing any of the gate's functions. Your pattern still has to pass into the gate buffer, still has to traverse the wormhole, and still has to exit the opposite event horizon. The only difference with using a ring transporter is that the gate is fooled into thinking you are a standard energy wave, like a radio signal. Once your energy pattern passes into the event horizon, the gate doesn't detect that anything has been dematerialised, and therefore sends you to the opposite gate backwards along the wormhole. If there was no receiver on the opposite side, the receiving Stargate would either spit you out as normal at minimum speed due to you being stationary beforehand, or it would push your energy wave out of the gate like it does with a radio wave, and you'd be lost without a way to rematerialise. Backwards wormhole travel is actually seen in Season 9 of SG-1, when Vala wedges the cargo ship between the Supergate's ring. She then activates the onboard ring transporters, but her beam is pulled towards the collapsing planet's singularity. She is thought to be dead, but it turns out that her pattern was actually sent backwards through a normal Stargate wormhole all the way to the Ori galaxy. A final scenario that could be possible through beam transporters is the ability to bypass the Earth iris. Could a transport beam pick someone up, send them through the gate, and then through the iris before reassembling them on the other side? This is only possible if both sides have a set of rings or some sort of receiver. Otherwise, things like Asgard beam technology couldn't get a lock through the wormhole due to the amount of precision needed for a receiverless teleport. The SGC doesn't have rings, and even if a Goa'uld managed to get a cloaked cargo ship on top of Cheyenne Mountain, the jamming beacons would prevent any sort of lock-on. The same would happen with the Atlantis gate shield.